Exposed, how I transformed a heartbreaking mockery into a $500,000 fortune, an incredible journey. Jake always believed he could change the world, one idea at a time. But the laughter of his former classmates mocking him from the bleachers echoed in his mind like a nightmare replaying again and again. You start a business? They scoffed, their voices dripping with disbelief. Now, at 27, a decorated veteran returning to his struggling suburban hometown, he felt the weight of their laughs pressing down on him, heavier than the pack he once carried into battle. With student loans piling up and bills strangling his every ambition, he was stuck juggling 3 low-wage jobs just to get by. His family's pressure to settle for a real job wrapped around him like a suffocating blanket. They wanted safety, stability, but all he craved was to reignite the flickering flame of his dreams. He wanted to uplift his community, people who were counting on hope to fight back against the odds. One stormy evening, nature unleashed its fury, turning streets into rivers and homes into wrecks. The winds howled like angry spirits, and the rain pounded on roofs like a war drum. Jake felt it deep in his bones. This was his moment. Driven by a newfound urgency, he rallied his neighbors through text, social media, and sheer willpower. Together, they united, sharing resources, sweating side by side as they cleared debris, reminding each other that resilience flourishes in unity. As they labored, laughter drowned out the faint memory of mockery. For the first time since returning, he saw not just the destruction around them, but the flickering spirit of his hometown shining bright. But when he unveiled his vision of starting a community-centered business, he faced jeers from the local elite who labeled him just another dreamer. Their words sliced through him, taunting reminders of his struggles. Before he knew it, he stood before a potential investor, adrenaline racing through him. His pitch was earnest, his heart laid bare, but rejection crashed over him like the storm that had just passed. The echoes of doubt filled the room and darkened his spirit. Desperate to break free from their prejudices, he decided to launch a grassroots campaign to share his story. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With tenacity, he posted at midnight, took to every platform, and soon the world resonated with his fight. The story of a veteran overwhelmed by the expectations of others and rising to uplift his community went viral. Thousands rallied behind him, spreading hope like wildfire. Jake was swept into a movement. Standing center stage at a community gathering, he felt their collective heartbeat, their hopes resting on his shoulders. But then, just when he thought everything was coming together, the very investor who had turned him down unexpectedly crossed his path again. Jake's heart pounded. Would he muster the strength to speak for everyone who dared to dream despite the odds? The whispers of his community echoed behind him, and for the first time, he embraced the very weight of their expectations not as a burden, but as a rallying cry. Would it be enough to chase the shadows of doubt away? Would he finally transform the heartbreak of mockery into something real? The crowd buzzed with an electric energy, their faces a mix of hope and anticipation. Jake scanned the sea of friendly eyes, each one reflecting a blend of anticipation and faith. He could feel their belief in him, a powerful force pushing him forward, even as the shadow of his past loomed large. Taking a deep breath, he squared his shoulders and stepped forward. The investor, a tall man with a sharp suit and an even sharper gaze, appeared unimpressed, arms crossed tightly over his chest. Jake willed himself to ignore the man's posture. This was not about one person, this was about a community. "Thank you for coming," he began, his voice steady. "I know you once doubted me, but our town is rising in spirit and ambition. I'm not just here for me, I'm here for every individual who dreams of something better." With each word, he painted a picture of his vision, a community hub that would provide resources, training, and inspiration. We want to create jobs, foster skills, and, most importantly, develop connections that will help us all succeed, he declared. The investor shifted his weight, tension crackling like static electricity. Jake continued, I've learned through struggle and hardship that you can't measure worth by a bank account. Our worth is measured in hope, resilience, and community. Every dollar you invest will empower someone who needs it. The murmurs in the crowd were encouraging. They weren't just listening, they were feeling the heartbeat of his words. In the center of it all, he spotted his old friends from high school, a few of them sitting together, eyes wide with pride. Jake had once been the mockery of their conversations, but now he could see the spark of belief igniting in them, too. To counter the disbelief of the elite, he shared stories about his neighbors, real people who deserved better, who were redefining success against all odds. But the investor shrugged, his steely demeanor not softening. Before Jake could speak further, he interrupted. You have passion, I'll give you that. But passion alone doesn't pay the bills. What do you have, besides stories? The air in the room snapped tight. Doubt flooded Jake's mind, briefly blinding him as memories of laughter and mockery flared in the background. But then he caught sight of a young boy from the crowd, clutching a handmade sign that read, Jake is not just a dreamer. That simple message lit a fire deep within him. Passion is where it starts, but it's also about action, Jake retorted firmly. I've built a network of local businesses who are on board and eager to help. We've pulled together enough preliminary funding to take significant steps. But what we need is your belief in us and a chance to prove that investments can flourish into something bigger. A tense silence enveloped them while Jake's heart raced. He was standing at the edge of possibility. Would this be the moment of transformation or the tipping point of despair? His community was here, and they were unwavering in their support. In that charged air, an unmistakable tremor of hope surged through the crowd, resonating with frustration and resolve. But before he could see where it might lead, the investor's brow furrowed deeper. He leaned back as if weighing something heavy. I'll consider it, he finally said, but his tone remained non-committal, leaving half the crowd feeling deflated. Disappointment coiled in Jake's gut, along with a fierce determination. They were so close. He had rallied their spirits, and he refused to let a single rejection dim the hope they had kindled. As the gathering began to disperse, he felt the overwhelming urge to prove everyone wrong, especially himself. How could he ensure his community and dreams wouldn't fall to the same mocking fate he'd endured? What would it take to turn that fleeting chance into a lasting legacy? Determination washed over him like a warm wave. Jake knew this was just the beginning. As he caught the eyes of his friends, he felt the familiar weight of responsibility shift toward possibility. What came next would either build them up or knock them down. And he wouldn't back down without a fight. Would he find the support to truly launch his dream, or would he have to risk everything to make it happen? He knew one thing for sure, he wasn't finished yet. The sun sank low, casting a warm golden hue over the streets of Jake's town as evening approached. People began to filter out of the community center, their conversations buzzing with a blend of skepticism and hope. Jake felt the energy shift as he stepped outside, the fresh air rushing over him like a wave after being submerged. The initial euphoria of his speech lingered, but the weight of the investor's indecision hung heavily on his shoulders. Hey, Jake! A familiar voice broke through the crowd. It was Sam, his childhood friend, rushing toward him with excitement bouncing off his every step. You did amazing up there. Seriously, I felt the whole room shift with you at the helm. Jake managed a smile, though his heart still thumped anxiously. Thanks, Sam. But I don't know if that was enough to convince him. Forget about him. You got us talking about dreams again, Sam replied, pulling Jake into a side hug. I haven't thought about that in ages. You lit a fire in this town. As other friends approached, offering praise and kind words, Jake felt a warmth spread through him, mixing with the sting of doubt. He was grateful for their support. But in the back of his mind, the investor's words echoed, passion alone doesn't pay the bills. Let us grab a drink to celebrate, suggested Emily, laughing as she wiped her hands on her jeans. This town's got enough positivity to drown out any cynic. Plus, I have some ideas I want to share with you. Jake nodded, although the excitement of his friends contrasted sharply with the nagging uncertainty in his chest. They shifted toward the local diner, but despite the camaraderie, the chatter felt muffled, distancing him from the jubilant atmosphere. Once they settled into a booth, with milkshakes and fries piled high, Emily leaned in with a spark of inspiration. What if you hold an event? Something like a community fair? I mean, really show what our town can do when we pull together. We could raise funds, draw in new supporters, maybe even attract a better investor. That's brilliant. You know how many local businesses would jump at the chance to get involved? Sam added, eyes shining. Jake's heart raced with the thought. A sense of clarity washed over him. We could showcase local talent, skills, and we could tell our stories, just like I did today. It could be a way to show that we're more than just dreams, we're a collective movement. But we'll need a lot of hands on deck. Count me in. Emily enthused. I've got connections. We can get posters up, use social media, make this event the talk of the town. The excitement in the booth grew, voices overlapping, laughter spilling out over the tables. It felt right, they could do this together. Jake could feel belief solidifying among them, binding them closer. They were a force, not just a collection of individuals. But a shadow crept back into his mind. If this fair didn't work, what would happen next? Could they deal with another disappointment? Jake, Emily said, snapping him out of his thoughts. You okay? You seem a little lost. Yeah, he sighed, looking at their eager faces brought close by shared ambition. What if we put everything into this and it flops? After today, the fear of failure feels like a weight I can't shake. No risk, no reward, right? Sam said with a knowing smile. We're all in this together. If it does flop, we'll adapt and come back stronger. But if it succeeds? Jake's stomach fluttered at the thought. If it succeeded, maybe it would be the fuel they needed to propel forward. Determined hope flickered in his heart, but they would need to act quickly. All right, let us do this. Jake proclaimed with newfound vigor. Let us make this fair happen. His friends cheered, energized by his spirit. The diner felt brighter, alive, and bursting with potential. But as they made arrangements and spun ideas into plans, a nagging thought flickered in Jake's mind. Would they find the strength to face down the looming specter of failure, or would it bury their dreams before they even had a chance to shine? With his heart racing and the breath of possibility filling the air, Jake knew the next steps would be crucial. How far would they go to ensure their dreams didn't drift back into the shadows? The diner's atmosphere crackled with energy, laughter, and excitement swirling around their booth. Jake glanced at his friends, their enthusiasm rubbing off on him, igniting a spark of determination. The ideas flowed like the milkshakes they sipped, each one more ambitious than the last. Jake, we need a catchy name for the fair, Emily said, her brow furrowed in concentration. Something that captures our essence. Dreamfest. Sam suggested, his eyes alight with mischief. Or maybe hope and happenings. Jake smiled at their banter. What about unity and diversity? We could showcase what makes our town unique. It's all about coming together. That's it. Emily exclaimed, her voice bright. It's perfect. It's about our stories, our talents, everything that makes us who we are. Each idea brought them closer as they brainstormed logistics, timelines, and potential themes. But behind the camaraderie, doubt haunted Jake. Was this enough? What if all their hard work didn't lead to anything meaningful? As their plans crystallized, they started turning the excitement into actionable steps. Emily and Sam would hit local businesses to drum up sponsorships while Jake focused on social media outreach, rallying the community. "You've got to make a video," Sam nudged, his voice dropping as if they were planning a covert operation. "Show your passion and let people know what this is all about." Jake's heart quickened with the idea, but the thought of putting himself out there again made his palms sweat. What if they don't care? What if they don't believe in me? "Dude, if you're feeling it, others will too," Emily reassured him, locking her gaze onto his. "This isn't just about you. You'll be representing everyone." A warmth filled his chest, drawn from their faith in him, even when he faltered. "You really think so?" "Absolutely," Sam affirmed, slapping Jake on the back. "This town needs a spark. You've already lit one. Let's get the video rolling." That night, Jake sat at his desk, surrounded by crumpled papers and half-drawn plans. He adjusted the camera, anxiety bubbling in his stomach as he hit record. "Hey, everyone," he began, his voice shaky but steadying with each word. He poured his heart out about the fair, about dreams, and the power of community. When the recording ended, he sank the chair back, running a hand through his hair. Maybe this would work. Maybe his fears were baseless. Filled with renewed hope, he hit the upload button and watched the screen flicker to life, the video spreading through the digital world. As the days passed, the response began to trickle in. Messages of support poured into his phone. "I'm in. Let me help. Count me as a vendor." Each notification felt like a small victory, pushing Jake to embrace the rising tide of community spirit. They secured a venue, cajoled local businesses to come on board, and even got confirmation from a couple of musicians ready to perform. But just as things intensified, a message popped up that made his stomach drop. "I heard you're organizing a fair. Are you really expecting it to work?" What a wild idea! Jake's heart sank, recalling the investor's skepticism. Doubt crept in once more, darkening the bright vista ahead of him. "Hey," Emily said, leaning over as they reviewed social media responses, "what's wrong?" He hesitated, taking a deep breath to quell the thoughts swirling in his mind. "Just a comment, and I dunno, it feels like everything hinges on this. What if we still fail?" With compassion gleaming in her eyes, she said softly, "What if we don't? This isn't just about the fair, it's about us believing we can build something great together. You can't let one voice drown out the chorus of support." Jake nodded slowly, the flicker of hope resurfacing. Together, they could make this count. And yet, with the momentum building and expectations rising, he wondered, if they reached for success, was he ready to take responsibility for it all? As uncertainty and excitement mingled, Jake felt the familiar weight on his shoulders. How far would he go to protect this fragile flicker of hope they'd ignited? Would he stand strong when the wind of doubt threatened to extinguish their flame? Jake stared at his phone, the harsh glow illuminating the walls of his room like a spotlight. Doubt clawed at him, and the comment that had cut through his bubble of excitement echoed in his mind, ringing louder than the support he'd received. "Am I really doing this?" he muttered under his breath. The night wore on, and sleep eluded him. He tossed and turned, heart racing every time he forced himself to think about the fair. What if no one came? What if it flopped, and he became the town joke? He thought about Emily and Sam, their faith in him almost suffocating at that moment. Did he deserve their trust? At dawn, the world was still wrapped in quiet, the birds uncertainly welcoming the sun. Jake climbed out of bed, feeling the weight of the doubt settle like a heavy blanket. He grabbed his phone and began scrolling through the supportive messages again, trying to drown out the one negative voice. But it was hard. The more he read, the more he felt torn between hope and fear. He made breakfast, but the usual comforting smells of bacon and toast couldn't shoo away the tightness in his chest. Emily would text any minute now, eager to share the latest excitement from their planning meeting. He poured himself a coffee, staring dully into the dark liquid as if it held all the answers. What he really needed was clarity. He didn't want to disappoint them. Just then, Jake's phone buzzed on the table, startling him out of his thoughts. It was Emily. "Hey. We just secured the local gym for the fair. Can you believe it? I'm so hyped. We're working on logistics, but it's a great space. A flicker of joy sparked in Jake's chest. They were making progress. Maybe the fair could be something special. He shot back a quick reply, his fingers flying across the screen. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear more. I'm excited but feeling a bit nervous, too. Totally understand. But remember, we've got this together. You're not alone in this. Her enthusiasm pulsed through him, and a small smile crept onto his face. Just then, Sam entered Jake's room without knocking, all crinkles and rectangles, paper plates piled high in his arms. Look what I found! He exclaimed, dropping the plates onto the desk. Free samples from the bakery on Main. If we play our cards right, we might get them to set up a booth. Jake couldn't help but laugh, the tension in his shoulders easing just a tad. Are you seriously going to eat all that by yourself? Of course. Don't you want to be the first one to taste the glory of unity in diversity? The laughter lifted the heaviness slowly settling around Jake's heart. Okay, bring it on. Let's just keep the sugar out of my coffee for now. Sam sat down, pastry crumbs dotting the table like impromptu confetti. So, what's really bothering you? I know there's something. Jake paused, searching for the right words. Should he admit his fear? Would it scare them off? But the truth had nestled deep in his heart, heavy yet liberating. I don't want to let everyone down. What if this whole thing crashes? Jake, every great idea has naysayers. You can't let them define your path. We've got an amazing team backing this. Look at the support, it's your job to keep the fire alive. Sam's eyes shone with determination, and Jake felt something shift within him, a sense of responsibility for not just his dreams but for his friends too. This wasn't just about him, it was about all of them. The vision they shared wasn't just momentum, it was hope itself, something they could all hold on to. With renewed determination, Jake nodded. You're right. I wasn't even thinking like that. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. Just as they started tackling the next steps, a new message chimed in, this time from the investor. I'd like to meet on this project. When are you available? Jake's heart raced. Could this be their shot? With a deep breath, he looked at Sam. Looks like it's time to really step up. In that moment, with excitement and anxiety weaving together, Jake realized that every step forward felt like a leap into the unknown. Would they soar? Would they crash? As he stared at the screen, the question loomed, were they ready for whatever would come next? Jake's heart pounded in his chest as he read the investor's message again. It felt unreal. He had envisioned the meeting, the plans for the fair, but now that it was unfolding, doubt flickered back into his mind. Why would someone want to invest in them? The thrill of possibility clashed with his lingering fears. Sam, listen to this. He tossed the phone onto the desk between them, feeling the weight of the moment heavy in the air. Sam's eyes widened as he read the screen. Whoa, this is huge. This could change everything. His excitement was contagious, but Jake felt the familiar grip of anxiety tighten around his throat. Yeah, but what if it all goes wrong? What if this guy thinks our ideas are stupid? What if he pulls out once he sees how unprepared we are? Sam frowned, concern furrowing his brow. Jake, you're starting to spiral again. Remember our mantra? We've got this. You've got this. Stop thinking the worst. Jake sighed, knowing Sam was right but feeling stuck in a loop of fear. I guess I just don't know how to handle pressure. What if he asks all these questions that we can't answer? Then we learn together. Look, we're a team. You know Emily and I will back you up any way we can. So, what's our next move? Jake considered this. They actually had something substantial to show. Emily's excitement, Sam's enthusiasm, and his own passion. Alright, let us think about what we need to present. We have a vision, and he has to see the potential behind it. Sam nodded, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. And we have that bakery connection now too. That's tangible proof that we can get local businesses involved. A spark ignited in Jake's chest, feeding the fire of determination. Maybe they really could pull off something amazing together. Together. That word lingered in his mind, warming his heart. Okay, let us start working on our pitch, he said finally, a newfound confidence shining in his voice. As they dove into preparations, they brainstormed ideas and crafted a vision board filled with sketches and noteboards of everything the fair could embody: vibrant booths, diverse food options, music and laughter. Laughter. That was key. They weren't just creating an event, they were shaping a community. Hours flew by, fueled by laughter and camaraderie, until the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden hue across their makeshift workspace. Jake leaned back in his chair, a satisfied grin spreading across his face. I think we're really onto something here. This feels right. Right is just the beginning, Sam replied, stretching his arms with a satisfying crack. We still have a long way to go. But seeing you light up like this, that's what matters. Jake's heart warmed at Sam's words. It dawned on him that maybe he'd never fully shake off the doubts, but he didn't have to face them alone. Okay, then. Let us tackle this investor meeting head on. We go in strong. As they finalized their plans, Jake's phone vibrated again. Another message. He opened it with a mix of excitement and dread. But as he read the words, shock washed over him. It was from Emily. I just heard from some people around town there are rumors of another event happening the same weekend as ours. It's big. We need to strategize what's our backup. Jake's stomach dropped. Just when things seemed to be coming together, new challenges emerged like storm clouds rolling in. Suddenly, everything felt uncertain again, and the question now was clear. Could they still make their fair a success, or was it all going to unravel before it had even begun? Jake stared at his phone, the screen still lit up with Emily's message. The joyful adrenaline from brainstorming had turned into a thick fog of anxiety. A rival event could be detrimental to their plans, a slap in the face right when they thought they were gaining momentum. Jake. What were you thinking? Sam's voice broke through his clouded thoughts. It's the timing, Jake stammered, biting his lip. If another event is happening that weekend, how do we compete? Hey, breathe, Sam said, leaning forward, elbows resting on the desk. We knew this wouldn't be easy. Look, we'll find a way to stand out. What is going to make people choose our fair? Jake nodded slowly, feeling the doubt claw back at him. We need a unique angle. Something that draws people in. He glanced at the piles of sketches and notes scattered around. If they're going to have competition, we need to make ours feel special, electric. Exactly. Sam's enthusiasm reignited. What about highlighting local talent? Live performances, art displays, hands-on workshops. We could invite artists, musicians, and even some chefs to collaborate. Jake's heart raced at the prospect. He could see the energy gathering at their fair, a celebration of community that felt intertwined with every local creator. That could definitely work, but we need people to know about it. We can't just rely on social media. We need a strategy that reaches hearts, not just screens. Then let us get creative. We could organize some sneak peeks or promotional events leading up to the fair. Maybe a mini concert or a pop-up booth at local farmers markets to generate buzz. Sam's eyes sparked with inspiration. Those are solid ideas, Sam. We need to build excitement before the big day. The gears in Jake's mind began to turn faster. And if we can somehow partner with those local businesses we've mentioned, it'll amplify what we're doing. Emily entered the room, noticing the intensity in the air. What's the plan? She asked, curiosity mixed with concern. Competition is stepping in, Emily. We need to create something that resonates with the community, Jake said, urgency clawing at the edges of his mind. We want them to feel like they can't miss out. A smile spread across Emily's face. All right then. Let us do this. Let us put our heart into it. Together, they dove into brainstorming new ideas, fueled by sleepless nights and lingering doubts. They spent hours crafting emails and calling businesses, determined to form a network that showcased local talent. Jake found himself lost in the excitement yet again, the collective energy reigniting the spark in his heart. Maybe, just maybe, they could craft something unforgettable that overshadowed any competition. The sun had dipped below the horizon, wrapping the room in shadows as they transformed their fear into determination, orchestrating a plan that merged every aspect of their dreams. As they finalized their pitches and worked on the logistics, something shifted in Jake. The sense of dread was still there, but it was overshadowed by belief. They could do this together. Jake sat back, watching the others as they collaborated. We've got one shot at this, he said quietly. Let us make it count. Just then, his phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call, a number he didn't recognize. He glanced at Emily and Sam, who wore expressions of curiosity and concern. Should I answer it? Absolutely, Emily urged, leaning in eagerly. Hello? Jake said, feeling the weight of the moment. The voice on the other end was deep and commanding. I'm calling about your fair. I hear you have something special planned. I want in, but on one condition. Jake's breath caught in his throat. What did this mean? The stakes just went even higher. What would this person want from them, and could it possibly help their cause? I want in, but on one condition, the voice continued, cutting through Jake's racing thoughts. It felt like a heavyweight pressing down on his chest. Who was this person? What condition? Jake managed to ask, trying to keep his voice steady. I want to meet you. We need to discuss this face to face, the man replied. My investment comes with an expectation of exclusivity. We can make your fair the talk of the town, but I need your respect and commitment. Jake glanced nervously at Emily and Sam. Sam raised an eyebrow, clearly questioning the sudden turn of events. Should we even consider this? He whispered, his voice barely audible. I'm not sure, Jake replied, heat rising to his cheeks as he considered the implications. What if he wants too much? Hey, a call like that is an opportunity, Emily chimed in, her voice firm. If he is serious, maybe he could help us bridge the gap with the competition. But we need to tread carefully. All right, Jake said, taking a deep breath. I'll meet him. The man on the line was quick to set the rendezvous. Meet me tomorrow at the cafe on Maple Street at noon. I'll be expecting you, he said before hanging up. Silence enveloped the room. Jake felt a mix of excitement and dread churning in his stomach. Was this what they needed? Or was he just inviting more trouble into their plans? Jake, do you think he is trustworthy? Sam finally asked, breaking the stillness. I don't know. I guess we'll find out, Jake replied, his heart thrumming in his chest. The next day, the cafe buzzed with the pleasant hum of conversations and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jake arrived early, his hands clammy as he fidgeted with the edge of the tablecloth. He had never been one to seek out investors or powerful players, the idea felt foreign and formidable. When the man entered, Jake noticed him right away. He had an air of confidence, his tailored suit sharply juxtaposing the casual environment. As he approached, Jake could feel his pulse quicken. Jake, right? Said the man, extending a hand that felt both firm and warm. I'm Max, pleasure to finally meet you. Yeah, thanks for coming, Jake replied, trying to steady his breathing. Let us cut to the chase, Max said, settling into his seat. I'm intrigued by your fair concept, but I want to make it bigger, much bigger. I want exclusive rights to everything we do together. And in return, I'll bring my network, funding, and a few surprises of my own. Jake felt a knot form in his stomach. Exclusivity. The thought of letting someone take control of his dreams sent a shiver down his spine. What do you mean by surprises? Max leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Let's just say I have a few connections in the entertainment industry. We could bring in some high-profile acts to guarantee a huge turnout. Jake's mind raced. This could be the game changer, but at what cost? Could he really trust this man? His heart hammered as doubt crept in. Think big, Jake. This is not just a local fair, it's a chance to create something extraordinary, Max urged, his gaze steady and challenging. Jake felt the tension crackle in the air. The stakes were rising, and so were his internal doubts. Could this partnership lead them to success, or would it derail everything he had worked so hard for? With every word, Jake weighed the potential against the risks. What was he willing to gamble for the chance of a lifetime? Just then, Jake's phone buzzed with another message from Emily. Are you okay? What is happening? He glanced up at Max, and for a fleeting moment, he saw a glimmer of something. Was it trust? Or was it something darker? Jake's finger hovered over the response button. Could he answer her truthfully, knowing his own uncertainty? Would he stand a chance against the risks weighing heavily on his heart? Let's make history together, Max said, a sly smile creeping across his face. And just like that, Jake was faced with a decision that would change the course of everything he held dear. What path would he choose, and where would it lead him? Jake's mind raced as he weighed his options. Max's proposal glittered with promise, but the potential pitfalls loomed large in his thoughts. He straightened his back, trying to suppress the rising tide of uncertainty and remind himself why he started this journey in the first place. Look, Max, Jake began, steeling himself with determination. I appreciate the offer, but I can't just hand over everything. This fair it's my baby. I've poured my heart into it. Max leaned back, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. I respect that, Jake. But look around this cafe. Do you think any successful business gets by without risks? The truth is, with high risk comes high reward. You have to decide if you're willing to step up. Jake glanced around the bustling cafe, the laughter and clinking of cups swirling around him. Did he want his fare to simply blend in with the background noise of those casual moments? Or did he want it to soar, to become something epic, full of excitement and recognition? He felt the tug of ambition, but it battled hard against the weight of compromise. I need time to think about this, Jake finally said, his voice firm despite the internal conflict raging within him. Max regarded him with a knowing look, unfazed by the hesitation. Take your time, he replied, his tone smooth. But just remember, there are others out there looking to seize opportunities. This kind of chance doesn't wait around forever. Jake's heart skipped a beat. Max was right. As he toyed with the thought of exclusivity and making it big, he glanced at his phone again. Emily was still waiting for him to respond. What would he tell her? That he was sitting with a man who held the potential to elevate their project or crush it under the weight of his control. Okay, I'll consider your offer. Jake said slowly, trying to buy himself a moment. But I want to know more about these connections of yours. Who can you bring in? Max's smile widened, as if he had been waiting for this question. I can make a few calls today. Let's set the stage for this fair to become unforgettable. I can even get a major social media influencer involved, maybe someone to give it a little viral spark. The thought sent a rush of adrenaline through Jake. The fair could go from local attraction to a sensation overnight. But at what cost? He would need to discuss this with Emily and Sam. They were in this together, and he couldn't just make decisions unilaterally. Alright, Jake said, pulling his phone from his pocket. He texted Emily hurriedly, need to talk ASAP. Big decision to make. As he pressed send, he caught Max's eye. I need to be sure this is the right move. If I go down this path, I can't look back. Max nodded, his expression serious for a moment. Understandable. Just remember, every journey comes with its risks. They finished their coffees, but Jake's mind was already racing forward. He could envision the fair transformed, the crowds cheering, the success he had only dared to dream about. But would it truly be worth sacrificing his vision for someone else's gain? When Max stood to leave, he leaned in close. I'll be waiting for your call, Jake. Think big. Jake watched him walk away, his heart pounding. The cafe buzzed around him, but all he could feel was the weight of his choices pressing down. He felt both exhilarated and terrified at the brink of something monumental. As he caught his breath, he realized the stakes had changed. This was no longer just about a fare. This was about everything he wanted, everything he'd ever hoped for. Did he dare chase this dream, and if so, how far was he willing to go? The decision he faced was more than just about money or popularity, it was about the core of who he was. Was he ready to spill his heart into this gamble, knowing how easily it could all slip away? The question lingered like a shadow, whispering over the edge of his consciousness. With a deep breath, Jake pushed his chair back and stood up. It was time to face Emily and Sam, and it was time to go all in. What would they say? Would they be excited or terrified alongside him? The uncertainty hung palpably in the air as he stepped into the bustling street outside, ready to initiate this risky chapter of their lives. Would they see the vision he had? Or would they pull him back from the edge before he jumped? Jake stepped outside, the afternoon sun warm on his skin, but his heart felt heavy. The bustling street was alive with activity, people chatting, kids laughing, the scent of freshly baked pastries wafting through the air, but he barely registered any of it. His thoughts swirled around Max's offer, a hazardous blend of excitement and fear. What was he willing to risk for his dreams? He took a deep breath, trying to quell the storm of uncertainty inside him. As he walked down the main street toward the diner where Emily and Sam were likely waiting, he replayed the conversation with Max in his mind. Could he truly hand over control of this dream? And what would his friends say when he laid it all out for them? When he finally pushed open the door to the diner, a small bell tinkled overhead. Inside, the familiar comfort of the diner enveloped him, the scent of coffee and fried food overwhelming him like a warm hug. He spotted Emily and Sam at their usual booth, animatedly discussing plans. Jake! Over here. Emily waved, her smile wide and inviting. But as he approached, he noticed the excitement in the air was shadowed by concern. Hey, he greeted, sliding into the booth across from them. I just met with Max. Both sets of eyes zeroed in on him, their anticipation palpable. What did he say? Sam asked eagerly, leaning forward. Jake swallowed hard, trying to find the right words to convey the magnitude of their impending decision. He wants to invest, but with a catch. He's looking for exclusivity and wants to completely control how the fair is executed. Emily's face fell, confusion etched into her features. What? That sounds intense. What does he expect in return? Connections. Big names. He could bring in some serious help and guarantee a massive turnout, Jake replied, his heart racing. But I don't know if I want to trade our vision for someone else's agenda. A moment of silence hung in the air, thick with contemplation. Sam broke the tension, his brows furrowed. That is a huge decision, man. But we could really reach more people, create something bigger than we ever imagined. This might be the boost we need. I get that, but it feels like a leap into the unknown, Jake admitted, glancing down at the table. What if we lose our voice? What if it all comes crashing down under someone else's vision? Emily reached across the table, placing a hand on his. Jake, remember why we started this? You wanted to bring hope back to our community. You wanted to inspire people to believe in themselves again. Is this what that looks like? Her words struck a chord deep in his heart. The fair was about so much more than just success or money. It was a chance to heal, to rebuild the bonds that had frayed over the years. "You're right," he said, lifting his head. "But we have to proceed carefully. I can't make this decision alone." "What's our counter?" Sam asked, leaning back, considering. "Not just a yes or no, but what if we negotiated some terms? We could lay out our vision alongside his offer." Jake felt a swell of hope rise within him. "You think we could do that? Stand strong enough that he'd see our worth?" Emily nodded vigorously. "Yes. Let us show him we have our own vision that complements his idea. It's not just about the numbers, it's about our community." Their conversation shifted, energy revitalized as they fleshed out their ideas. It became clear that Jake didn't need to fight the battle alone. With Sam and Emily by his side, he realized that each of them brought their unique strengths, a collective force that could withstand the ups and downs. As they brainstormed ways to regain their narrative while not rejecting the chance at growth, Jake's heart surged once more with determination. "How about we develop a proposal showcasing our vision? We can highlight community engagement while allowing him to tap into broader resources. If we position this right, he might see the value in partnering with us, rather than dictating the terms." As they scribbled ideas on napkins, excitement filled the booth again. The stainless steel of the diner shimmered in the afternoon light, an echo of hope radiating around them. It felt like they were no longer just hoping for a fair, they were building a movement, a chance to transform their community together. With renewed purpose, Jake felt the weight of doubt lift slightly. They would go into that next meeting armed with resolve and their united vision. He looked at Emily and Sam, and their eyes brimmed with belief. "Let us do this," Jake said, powering through the last of his uncertainties. "We're going to show him that we're not just dreamers, we're doers. Together." As they wrapped up their planning, a spark ignited inside Jake. This wasn't just a moment for him anymore, it was about the community that had rallied around him. He could feel the momentum building, a wave of possibilities rushing through him. With Sam and Emily by his side, they were a force to be reckoned with. The weight of his dreams felt lighter, impossibly close, and with purpose behind them, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. "Let us make history," Sam declared as they stood to leave, their hearts beating in sync, ablaze with hope. Jake grinned, feeling a rush of positivity pulse through him. This was their time, and together, they would create something far more remarkable than he ever dared to dream. They were not just going to make it, they were going to thrive. With each determined step toward the future, Jake knew one thing: they would fight for their vision, for their families, and for their community. It was a battle worth every ounce of their spirit. And so, hand in hand, they stepped back into the world, ready to transform the shadows of doubt into radiant light. Don't let this story end here. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive adventure. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread the inspiration. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformation. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.